Welcome to the Purpose Driven Mom Show. I have a treat for you today. We're doing a little throwback from the School Year Sanity event that was hosted back in July. And I thought it was timely because JoAnn Crohn came on to talk all about homework. And no matter when your kid started school, you're probably in the thick of it now. JoAnn gave such great tips, and you're going to hear me being coached at the end because I struggle with releasing the control here. But she gave great tips on how to create homework systems, how to not make homework our problem, and how to get a little bit of sanity when the homework is making you feel like you're failing as a parent and you're done arguing. Show notes for this are at purposedrivenmom.com. So if you want to also check out the replays, we'll link them up over. Again, the event was back in July, but you can buy the replays. I think we have them still for $27 maybe. So if you want to snag the replays, we had 4 sessions that day. It was a great workshop day. And I thought this one would be perfect for the end of September when homework's probably starting to pile up and your kids are arguing and you're tired of fighting. Enjoy the episode. All right, well, welcome back, everyone, to our afternoon sessions today on our School Year Sanity workshop. This morning was great. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I hope you actually got some work done during your lunch break. We have a great afternoon lined up for you. Joanne's going to kick us off with, and Joanne, I was telling this morning, I was like, I need homework help. My daughter's like going into fourth grade, and she's like, Mom, I'm going to have all this homework. And I'm like, well, I don't want to micromanage it, so I can't wait to hear what Joanne has to tell me.
Oh, I
I'm
have
not
lots to say on that.
micromanaging all of it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that as well this morning at the session. People were expressing their excitement for this because they're like the distrust of like, well, my husband checked the homework. I'm not home when they get home. Like all those things. I was like, just wait, put a pin in it. We're gonna get there this afternoon.
Hmm.
I'll be putting the recording up inside your portal so you can go back and watch the replay. If you're on the replays underneath, there's a question box, so you can feel free to ask any questions there. And I will be here the whole time, but I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna toggle it over to Joanne to get us started today.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me and welcome to everyone who is here and everyone who is watching this on the recording. Homework is one of my favorite things to talk about because I approach it in more of a mind shift on what exactly homework is for and what your role should be in it. I am a former teacher. I've taught fifth grade for many years before I went over and started my own business, No Guilt Mom. So I've seen both sides of the issue. I've seen the classroom side with what the teacher kind of wants. I've seen the parent side from going through it with my own kids. And let me tell you, I wish I could apologize to some of those parents about the homework that I assigned when I was a teacher. I felt like I made some mistakes in that area. And from those mistakes, this is where my advice to you comes from. And Cara, you're nodding. So I'm thinking like you probably felt like you made some mistakes in the arena of homework when you were a
Oh
teacher.
my God, I think about that now as a parent, and my thoughts on homework have completely changed as
Yeah.
a parent, and I am just like, wow, I can't. Yep, I
It's
agree.
totally
It's so
different.
different when you see it on this end. Um, and I taught high school too, so it wasn't like a little bitty worksheet. Like they were getting so much homework, and I just,
Yeah.
oh man, if I could go back.
So, yes. So we're talking about how to create a homework routine that works. And I love to talk with you all when I'm presenting. So, right now, first assignment. There you go. There's the teacher in me. First assignment. Post who you are and where you're from. Tell me the age of your kids too in that chat. Like you could say, I would say, hey, I'm from Gilbert, Arizona. My kids are 16 and 12. So post that in the chat, and I'm going to get my screen share going right now with my pretty yellow slides. I want to make them vibrant. I wanted to wake everybody up this morning. And also, while you're putting that in the chat, I'm just going to move my chat windows because when you start the screen share, everything kind of goes a little differently than you feel like it should. So put those things in the chat. We're going to get going. I will come back to you and look at your answers. 14-year-old twin boys in California. Julie, welcome. From Pennsylvania, of course, Cara, there she is. Kids going into second. Allie, you're my Allie, aren't you? I say my Allie because I see Allie all the time in the morning in Balance. I was wondering if that was you when you popped in. 11 and 2. Melissa's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Oh, she's right next to you, Cara. 10 and 11. So let's talk homework, all the grade levels, because I am going to focus primarily on the basic skills, the things that, kids in elementary school, how you can get them ready. But I have stuff for you middle school and high school parents as well. We're just going to like build the foundation and grow from there. So I'm JoAnn Crohn. I almost said my maiden name, guys. I'm JoAnn Crohn. I have a master's in education and I run No Guilt Mom. And when we're talking about homework, who's seen this at home? Who has seen their kids just completely losing it over their homework, crying? Maybe they're telling themselves that they're stupid, maybe that they're on the floor because they don't understand the requirements for a science project, or perhaps you have avoiders for kids where they just refuse to do it. They don't want to engage with it. They have a million excuses as to why they're not going to do their homework right now. And when you remind them and when you're like, hey, when's your homework due? They're the ones who are pretty much pushing back and refusing to do it. Allie says, my son is an avoider. Yes, I would love to know the homework personalities of everyone else's kids on here as well, because I can like shape the whole presentation for you. I want to tell you my story. This was me when I first encountered homework as a parent. Now, you may be like, oh, look, you have a baby, newborn. He wasn't the one. It was my daughter who had just entered kindergarten, not less than a week after I gave birth to my son. And I was here with this little newborn trying to still cook dinner because I have very high expectations, really lofty. And my daughter was at the kitchen table with this homework packet that they gave to kindergarten. And she was just losing it. When she didn't know a question in the homework packet, she would completely melt down, be so hard on herself. I remember going to the couch so often while I was juggling all the things and consoling her and telling her that, yes, she is smart. Yes, she can figure this out. Yes, she can do it. And it was that experience that led me to believe that I had it totally wrong as a classroom teacher. I honestly went into this thinking I would rock homework right from the beginning, from being a teacher. And I didn't realize how much different it is, nor all the emotions involved in the homework process for parents, until this happened with my daughter. Melissa, I was there with you. Yes, 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 yes. So wouldn't it be amazing if your child just came home, took out their homework, and got it done without you having to hover over them or to nag them to repeat it, or nag them to even start it, or nag them to stay focused on it? Like, is this what you want right now? Just tell me yes right there in the comments if this is something you dream about in the homework process, that it would look like this. Kara's like, I wish. Yes, this is what we all hope for. And I have to tell you, guys, this is my reality right now. That daughter who was a kindergartner, she's now a senior in high school. This is her senior year. They started up 2.5 weeks ago. I know Arizona's weird. Arizona's weird that my kids have been in school for that long already. But she is the one who is completely focused on her own homework. She drives it. I really don't even know what she has going on for homework. And that is because as soon as that breakdown happened when she was a kindergartner, that's when I started experimenting. That's when I started figuring out, okay, how can she motivate herself? How can I take myself out of this homework equation so that I don't have to be the one hovering over her to get it done? Because guys, I had a newborn. Like I could not keep my sanity with a newborn with lack of sleep and all of the other body pains and have her work on homework. So it was out of necessity that I developed this system. And now that she is a senior in high school, is completely paid off. It is also paid off for my son. He is a 7th grader in junior high. He is now getting larger amounts of homework than he had in elementary school. He is the one who drives the homework and who gets it done. So this is going to work for you too. It is going to pay off incredibly when you switch to this method of doing homework. Because homework in the elementary school levels, at least, isn't just a place to teach subject matter skills. Now, for all like transparency, I actually don't believe that elementary students should get homework. Like, that is one of the big mind shifts that I made when I became a parent from when I was a teacher. When I was a teacher, I assigned homework, not knowing what went on at home. But as a parent now, they shouldn't get it. And the research backs up on this because there have been multiple studies about how kids have improved in, say, math, for instance, elementary school students who have done homework at home and who have not done homework at home. And the results are really, really minimal. Like, there is not much difference. In fact, there's a negative effect because of the relationship blocks that were put in place between the parent and the child because of getting that homework done. It is much better for kids at the elementary school level to be able to play at home, to be able to relax, to be able to unwind instead of doing homework. That said, if you do have a teacher who assigns homework, homework can teach not just the like math skills, not just the reading skills. It can teach prioritization. It can teach time management, and it can also teach persistence. These are the things that I focused on when my kids were elementary school students. These were the skills they were working on when they did their homework as an elementary schooler. And when they were learning these skills, I always paid really close attention. So here's your first tip with homework. Pay close attention to their emotions. If they are becoming upset, if you feel like you have pushback against homework, if there is fighting associated with homework, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. That was always my cue to back away and to either give my kids the chance just to, calm down, sitting beside them, helping them through it, letting them change activities so that they weren't getting so upset at the homework, and also contacting the teacher to say, like, hey, my kid is not doing so well with homework right now, with the amount of homework. And having that two-way communication with you and the teacher, it really makes a world of difference. Because typically when my kids would have meltdowns like this over homework, I would tell the teacher and they would also say it's not worth it. That's okay. They don't have to do their homework. We will talk about it more in school, whatever subject matter that they were working on. So that is one of the big things that I want to impart to you. If you don't leave with anything else, just know that when your elementary schooler does homework, if they get too upset, if the emotions go like get really intense, the homework's not worth it. Let them stop, let them change activities, empathize with them, say like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Let's do something else. Let's talk to the teacher and say like, this is too much right now. Because one thing also I want to give to you is homework isn't your job. It is not your job. It is not your job to make sure that your child does their homework every single night and completes it to the best of their ability. That isn't your job as a parent. Your job as a parent is to be that calm and steady force to help your child recognize emotions of overwhelm, of frustration, and to be able to sit with them through that and to help them through that as well. If the homework isn't done, that's okay. That is so okay. Just have that two-way communication with the teacher and tell them what is going on at home. And every time I've done this, I just want to give you some reassurance. Every time I've done this, the teacher has always been like, oh my gosh, I don't want that to happen at home. Don't make them do their homework. We can come and we can talk about it as a class about this assignment. So just know that it's not supposed to be your job. Now, with that, right now, who owns homework in your house? You or your kids? And when I say who owns homework, whose responsibility is it to get the homework done? Do you feel like you're the driving force pushing to get it done? Or is it your kids who are the driving force pushing to get it done? Just put it in the chat. Me, my kids. Let me know, because especially in elementary school, but middle school and high school, if the driving force isn't your kids, that's what we're going to transition it to be. If you are the one pushing to get it done, This is something that you can step back and take off your plate. I'm giving you the permission. In fact, you're going to do this and it's going to be the best for every single person in your family because it is your kid's job to do homework, not yours. I see definitely me to get it done. Now, that said, that's not to say that you're going to completely step back because as a parent, we're coaches, we're guides. We are teaching our kids the skills that they need for those like skills I said before, the prioritization and the time management and the persistence. So instead of getting the homework done, your job then becomes more of a support role. What things do my kids need so that they could actually persist through homework, so that they could notice what they're struggling with and work through it? How can I do this? And I'm going to give you right now 3 essential things that you can put in place today, maybe later on, because one of them may require a trip to Target, but it's going to be okay. It's not too big of a trip, but these are going to help your kids be more independent. So the first thing I want you to have in place is a homework box. Now that homework box, I have one right here. It could just be a regular school supply box that you get from anywhere. And in that homework box are the things that may typically impede getting homework done. There's the things like, Mom, I can't find a pencil. I swear those pencils, they disappear like all the time in our house when my kids were in elementary school. And so the homework box has a pencil. Mom, I don't have a pencil sharpener. It would always, 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 always be a broken pencil every single time they tried to do homework. So they have the pencil sharpener. Mom, I don't have a glue stick. You have a glue stick in there too. You have scissors. Have a place where they have homework supplies. Now, I know that in the middle school years and high school years, they're working off Chromebooks sometimes, and a lot of their assignments are online. Sometimes for that, in a homework box, maybe you have a slightly bigger box and you have one of those personal whiteboards or a dry erase marker. This homework box is going to take a collaboration between you and your kids as to what they think they need at home for doing their homework. Now, there's a couple things here, though, that make this not just your average homework box. So notice right here, I have a list of what goes in the homework box. This list, I went through with my kids and we would check to make sure that after homework, everything was put back in a box. Nothing was left out. And having a list like this is really just handy so they know also what needs to go in the box. After homework time too, a great routine to get into is just have your kids pack away their homework box, zip it up, and then put it in a place everybody knows where it is. It is a great thing to have, especially if right now you are having that struggle about where's the supplies. I don't know where the supplies are. This is a technique that we used in elementary school too. So your kids' teachers probably do stuff like this as well with the lists and the labeling. It makes a world of difference in the long run. In my course Homework 911, which I'm going to share with you guys at the end, I give kids this printout of the box so you could just print it and put it in the box just like that. So have a homework box for your kids so that they always know where they can get their supplies without you needing to run around the house finding stuff for them. The second thing I want you to put in place is the power of choice. This little shift has made the biggest difference in parents who were before running their kids' homework routine to parents who now have their kids do the homework routine on their own. Before, parents would say, okay, you need to come home after school and you need to sit down at the kitchen table and we'll have a quick snack and then you'll do your homework. Like, this is kind of how we were told as teachers to give advice to parents to how the homework should be done. And to just take us back a little bit, when I was told that as a teacher, I didn't have kids of my own. So I was saying that to parents, because that was the advice I was given when I was trained as a teacher. Just to say, if you're hearing this advice from teachers right now, take it with a grain of salt. Know that they mean their absolute best. They are doing their absolute best. But in terms of that advice, it doesn't work. What does work is to ask kids, when do you want to do your homework? Leaving it completely up to them changes the game, because it's no longer you telling them to sit down or telling them to stop what they're doing. It is them that decide. And what I've found in this is that they will decide times that are going to make you really uncomfortable because it's going to go against what you want them to do. My daughter, for instance, she did not want to do homework right after school. She needs a cool down period. She needed like an hour or two where she could just, watch some shows on TV, unwind before she started on her homework. And she was able to tell me this as a kindergartner. She just said, I don't want to do it right now. I'd rather do it after I watch shows. My son, when he started first grade, he wanted to do his homework in the morning. Where I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how this is going to work in the morning. But changing it to the morning and having him be in control of it, he did it. He got it done there. And then after a few years of that, he's like, oh, it's really too stressful for me to do it in the morning. I'm going to do it after school. And he changed on his own. There was no fighting with it. He got it done. So give your kids the power of choice. Let them decide when they're going to do their homework. Let them decide where they're going to do their homework and the order of events. I have this after school checklist we had when my kids were in elementary school. They created this. I just moved the words around on the page. But after you create something like this with them telling you exactly when they want to do the things, you can create this. And I have a template for you that's available like as a little bonus at the end. So wait for that one. So we have homework box to make sure that you are not the one hunting down supplies for all of your kids. You're going to give your kids the power of choice, where you ask them when and where they want to do their homework, and then you can help them create this schedule. And I do want to say, this is not your job to enforce the schedule at all. This is your kids' job, because if they decide that it's just not working for them, of course, they can change their minds and decide to do their homework at another time. But this right here is not only showing that you are putting your trust in them to make their own decisions, to give them that autonomy and that power to control exactly what they want to do, but you're also showing them that none of their choices are set in stone. If something's not working for them, they always can go back and try something new. So it's two important lessons in there. Third thing to have in place is the timer trick. My son in particular, I feel like is the child most like me, where he just cannot sit still and focus for a very long amount of time. If there is a frustrating task in front of him, his emotions go through the roof. He gets frustrated very easily. He has really high emotions with it, and he needs breaks. We found this not only with homework, but like when asking him to do chores around the house. The dishes was one of these examples. And so I introduced him to the timer trick. And all the timer trick is when your kids are confronted with a really kind of frustrated, overwhelming scenario, where homework can be that overwhelming scenario, instead of looking at it as something like you have to do all at once, you pull out a timer. You set it for however many minutes they're comfortable working at a time. So that may be starting at 5 minutes, that may be starting at 10 minutes. Set the timer, and then they are working just for the amount of time on the timer. That's all they have to commit to. It's like, yes, this homework can be really, really big and scary, but I think I can work on it for 5 minutes. And what usually happens when you start using this timer trick and you put it in front of the kids, like I would actually, right now, I would give my kids the phone. I would help them go to the clock app and go and set a timer right here. And I would give them my phone so that they are in control of the timer. So what this doesn't look like is it doesn't look like, okay, I'm setting it for 8 minutes. Oh, it's not the end of 8 minutes yet. Nope, you have to go back and do your homework. You said you do it for 8 minutes. That's not what this looks like. What it does look like is here you go. You could set the timer for whatever time you want to set it for and just try to work through that. You step back, and that's all you do. You just step back. You're there for support. You don't have to hover over them. They are the ones in control. And when you give kids control like that, you are going to be so surprised at what they do. A lot of the parents whose kids went through my Homework 911 program and Homework Mastery, the kids took over control of that timer. And the parents then saw the kids would then set the timer themselves and just start working. No nagging needed, no reminders needed, because when you put kids in control, huge things happen where you can step back. They will really surprise you with this one. So that's the three things: the homework box, the power of choice, and the timer. And everything just went away. Let me get that back up. I hit my computer, and so my screen decided to leave me. There we go. Okay, we're back. We're back. So just to tell you a few stories of how this has worked for other families. My friend Ruth, her daughter Annie, she was really, really reluctant to doing homework. Like, she would fight with Ruth every single night. It became really a point of conflict between the two of them. And so since we were friends at the time, I gave Ruth Homework 911 for Annie. The cool thing is about like these things that I just taught you, as a parent, it could be really hard to teach your kids. I mean, I think, Cara, you'd agree. It is so much harder to teach your own kids than it is to teach kids in your classroom. Your kids will fight you. Your kids are pushed back against you. It doesn't mean that you're explaining it wrong or that you as a parent are doing a bad job. We as teachers have this as well with our own children. Like, it is so much harder. So what Homework 911 does is it teaches kids directly by me. I'm the one teaching them how to do the timer trick. I'm the one teaching them how to do the homework box. So it takes you out of the equation as the enforcer, and then you just get to kind of stand by and support them wherever they need help. So Annie took Homework 911, and Ruth said the change was immediate in her. She started sitting down by herself to do her own homework. The fights disappeared. And she said it was completely amazing because there was this tension that had existed in their house for so long. And having Annie take control over her own homework, it was a game changer. This is Tracy and her family. She was having so much trouble with homework and her son. Her son would come home and Tracy would be like, okay, when are you going to do your homework? When are you going to do your homework? And they would just get into fights every evening until he started Homework 911. And Tracy's role then became, she would come home, he would come home, and he would go straight up to his room. Sometimes he would even tell Tracy, okay, I'm going to have a snack right now, and then I'm going to play on my computer, and then I'm going to do my homework. And Tracy at first was like, I don't know, this feels really weird. Like, what if he doesn't do his homework? What if he doesn't follow through? What if he doesn't like do what he says he's going to do? But she let him do it. And she was amazed when an hour later he came down. He's like, my homework's all done. It's finished. And that's what I want you to have with homework as well. I think that these homework battles, they cause us so much stress as moms. They cause like us to break our connection too with our kids, so that when they take over their homework routine, that is just one less stressor that you need to have in your house. I want you to have no more battles, no more begging them to get their homework done. Just kids who can handle their homework, and you finally get your evenings back and you don't have to fight them anymore. So to do this, to help you with this, I have 2 courses to help you. I have Homework 911, which is for elementary schoolers. This is where I teach kids how to do the timer trick. This is where I teach your kids how to make their homework box. This is where I teach your kids how to like decide on what they're going to do and when. I also give them a ton of tips on like how much homework is too much so that they can really look at that and what homework they have. I talk to them about reading because I know in elementary school, reading is usually a component of homework. Like you have to spend so many minutes reading. So we talk about that and what if you don't like reading and is it normal not to like reading? And all of these things that kids usually are told, just do it. I'm there in conversation with them saying like, it's totally normal that you don't like this. Here's what we could do to get around it. Homework mastery is for middle schoolers. It is teaching them the essential skills of organization, of note taking, and how to make sure that they're able to get everything done that they need to get done. With homework mastery, we teach them how to use a planner, which is such an important component of middle school. And one cool thing about this planner, this is called the dot planner, and I tell them that planning isn't just writing things down, it's actually structuring your thinking. So dot stands for daily organized thinker. But down here, if you're familiar with time blocking, and Allie, who's in balance, rainbow planning, I teach kids how to time block their afternoons and just thinking like, okay, I have this homework. Oh, I'm going to do that at the 4 o'clock hour. Okay, I have this homework. I'm going to do that at 7 o'clock so that they're aware of the time that they need to get their homework done and also any extracurricular activities that they have here. It's just teaching them that planning skill. So that's in homework mastery. Now, with these two, and since you're here with me at School Your Sanity, I wanted to like throw in something extra. So this is for everybody too who watches the recording, everybody who gets homework mastery or homework 911 or the package of both through the link that I'm going to have for you. I'm also going to give you the drama-free homework system. Now, this, you're going to get a digital copy of my book, Drama-Free Homework, which is from a parent's perspective. So if from this presentation, if I helped calm you down a little bit, if I told you that, hey, like you don't have to do as much homework-wise, this is going to do even more of that. This explains the entire homework process, what you'll be seeing your kids do from the parent's perspective. So in Drama-Free Homework, you get the digital copy. I put the audiobook in there because I love an audiobook. I also have a pack in there called Make Homework Fun, which is helping your kids decide on their homework schedule and just some other cool activities in there and like a goal sheet, helping them create a goal for their school year instead of just doing homework. And then I have a few trainings in there as well, such as like how to communicate with those teachers and how to talk to teachers about situations that you're seeing at home. So I'm going to give you that whole pack for free, which is typically a $57 value when you get Homework 901 and Homework Mastery today. Now, I want these courses to be super accessible for you, like super accessible. And so Homework 911 is only $29. Only $29. Homework Mastery, only $29. Together, I have a pack for you that you can get together. Together, they're $49. So you save some money getting them both if you have two kids in your household and they each need a different program. So where to get it? You can go right there to noguiltmom.com / that stands for School Year Sanity, SY Sanity. And that is where you can pick up Homework 911 and Homework Mastery so that I teach your kids those skills instead of you having to go through it, fighting with them the entire way. They'll say something that triggers you, as my kids do to me all the time. And then it just becomes longer and longer. Go and grab that. And here, I'm here with any questions now, anything that I can answer for you. I'm seeing in the chat, Ali says, we have an Alexa. He sets his own chore timer. Never thought to get him to do that with homework too. Yeah, it works great with homework. I also have a few other tricks that they can use too with that chore timer, with the timer in Homework 911 to make it even more successful. Ali says, next year I'm homeschooling my son, but it'll be more of a hybrid online co-ops and taught by me. Would these help with helping him be more independent with this as well? Yes, especially if it's a hybrid, because these are teaching the skills on how to be an independent worker. They aren't specifically like, this is what you do with only homework. These are skills that could be applied to chores, to projects, to like a variety of things, anything where you need focus to get through it. I'm using these skills when I am going through and writing my book right now, and they've gotten me through so much. So, yes, yes, definitely. Let
Drink.
me know any questions. Hello, Cara.
I have one. Thank you so much. So,
Yes.
I put a couple things. I struggle with this releasing of control, with the letting them fail, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I want to do more of this year. I'm ready, like committed to doing more of it. But I was wondering if you could talk to that voice in my head that is going to pop up when like they don't do their homework at all. Like that voice,
Yes.
like it's okay. Like
What is that voice telling you in your head when they don't do their homework?
I think honestly, it feels like it becomes a reflection of me and that they're going to think the teacher is I'm a bad parent because my kid didn't do their homework, if I'm real.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very common thought when kids don't do their homework of parents. So next question, what does the teacher think of this when if you email them and you say, "Hey, my kids are really, really having trouble with this homework."
I've never done it. I've never even thought to ask the teacher.
It's a good feedback for the teacher too. Like, I mean, as a classroom teacher, I would have loved it if parents told me more. I mean,
Right.
I think they did tell me, but I was just ignoring it. When you, but when you go to the teacher, it helps to be really, really specific with what's happening. Saying stuff like, you know what, I am trying to get my daughter to do homework, to sit down, and she is having a lot of trouble with this particular thing right here. Do you have any suggestions or tips? Or is it okay if she leaves this part undone and just comes to talk to you about it? That is like the thing I use so much, especially the undone one, because tips, teachers will tell you, oh, have them pick up a quiet place. Oh, have them do it immediately after school so it gets done. But asking almost for that permission, is it okay if she leaves it undone and comes to you with questions? That tells them you are an involved parent, and it also tells them that, hey, like now they get to see the trouble that the child is having with the homework. And so it's not you trying to explain it, it's them being able to actually witness, okay, oh, this may not be clear here. Or like I could see how the kids are getting confused in this area right here. So it
Yeah.
helps both of you.
No, that's helpful. And you know what's so interesting? So what did I say? Second and fourth grade, right? So we've been doing this for a while, and every year is different with the consistency of what's required of them for homework. So
Mhm.
they don't understand. Like kindergarten, they had homework every day, and then in first grade, homework is optional. And then, my son's going to second grade. He's like, I don't know. Like I'm like, I don't know either, right? And so I
Yeah.
think part of it is that it's been so inconsistent that we haven't been able to develop a really good routine. And like for my kids, I think that the homework's too easy for them. Like both of them aren't very much challenged at school, so they're both like, this is so easy. Like, what is the point of me doing this, right? Like that is like where they get, so they have no dog in the fight here. They're like, it is what it is. Like this is like they don't feel like they need to be doing this because it's stuff that they can do in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm like in my brain, like, yeah, I agree.
You
Like
do agree.
I do agree. Like I'm like you don't this is like it's dumb. Like I don't think you need to be doing this either. And I wonder how much of that bleeds through in my attitude towards their homework. Like I'm catching myself like, maybe I need to like recognize that as well because clearly if they pick that up for me, they're gonna be,
There,
you know,
I don't think there's any fault in them knowing that because they know it too.
yeah.
They know it's not worth their time. And I mean, my kids know my attitude towards homework, and yet they still get done what needs to get done. They
Mm,
don't get done all of it because even as an adult, I mean, we are given way too much work for us to reasonably be able to do in a day. And we have to make choices as to what work actually affects us in the long run versus what work we just need to put on the back burner because it's impossible to get to.
yeah.
So when it comes to homework, it might just be something that they put on the back burner because it's not worth their time. And that's an okay thing, especially in elementary school where the benefits of homework they're really not found anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's helpful. I think so many of us just get in our heads about what's expected of us and like having to like not be the parent whose kid doesn't do their homework. But at the same time, like I said, as a former teacher, I'm like, let them breathe, man. Like
Right.
let them go home and like decompress that nervous system a little bit, like the, type of things. So, um,
Yeah. And when you talk about being the parent whose kid doesn't do their homework, what's going to happen? Like, what do you envision happening to you from like the teacher if they start seeing you as the parent whose kid doesn't do their homework?
yeah, I wonder if they would have just judgments about my own parenting style, but then part of it is also like I don't care that much.
There
Like
you go.
like
Yeah.
I don't actually care what you think about me because I know that what my kids are capable of doing. And again, I say this with the caveat of my kids do pretty well in school academically.
Mhm.
Their issue is not like this is hard. Their issue is this is maybe too easy and I'm bored and I don't want to do it. So I say that with that caveat of I don't see it bleeding into their day to day, but it is an expectations piece and an outward. I wonder what judgment I'll get, right? And I think when we can stop and analyze that and be like, and so what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and that fear of judgment piece, I mean, it is so real. There, like it affects our day to day, especially as moms, where we feel like everything is put on us and we're the ones at fault if something doesn't get done. But homework is something that you could definitely release, especially if it's too easy for them, especially if the teacher's like homework is optional. Like if homework is optional, that's like your cue. I'm like, okay, we're done this year. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember it was first grade. The one teacher said homework, and like a couple of us mom friends were talking, and because she said, "Oh, why did she tell the kids that?" Right? Because then some of the parents are like fighting their kid to get their homework done, and they're like, "My teacher said I didn't have to do it. Like my
mhm.
teacher said it was optional," and then that's when I said to my friend, I was like, "So let it be optional. Like if she said she doesn't have to do it, like I know you'd like them to, but they don't have to, right?
What
Like."
is cool too when you let it be optional, I found that like my kids would do some homework because they thought it was cool. Like the project and the assignment was cool. And ideally, that's what homework should be. Homework should be kind of a like dig in deeper to the topic sort of thing versus something that's easy and repetitive. I mean, as a teacher, I gave this horrible spelling workbook thing where like every week they would have to write their spelling words and write a sentence for their spelling words and like half of the kids would come and it wasn't done and I was getting angry as a teacher and it wasn't until our math coach pulled me and like my team aside and she's like, let me ask you a question, would you be mad if someone gave this to you for work? And I was like, yes, I would. I would be mad. And I stopped assigning it right there because it wasn't a helpful assignment. So it's not all teachers are perfect. I mean, I definitely wasn't one. Not all homework is perfect. And really, what we want kids to do is to operate independently and use that critical thinking to decide, like, will this help me in the future or will this not help me in the future? And go from there.
Thank you. That's helpful. I know we have some middle school parents here, and I know we talked a lot about like kind of setting those foundations and the elementary stuff. I'm wondering any advice for some of the middle school stuff that you might have that we didn't get to touch on.
So, middle school stuff, the biggest thing is organization and it's project planning because they have these really huge projects that if their teachers don't help them kind of think of a plan of when they're going to do each thing, it comes to the end of when the project's due and they're like, I haven't done anything with my science experiment. Now, most teachers, because they of course want their kids to succeed, most teachers will plan with the kids. They will sit down and they will have pieces of a big project broken up so that a part is due this week, and then this little part's due next week, and then this little part's due the next week. But if they don't do that, something that we do in homework mastery is we teach how to like break a project apart. We have this big project planner where I coach kids on, okay, like what do you have to get done for the project? What are the milestones we call it? And then we put them in a timeline with due dates, such as like, oh, okay, I should get this one done by this date and this one done by this date. And then I show them how to take that and then go to the month planner like this and put them in so that they have a game plan going in of how long is this project actually going to take me. That's the biggest thing with middle schoolers. The other big thing with middle schoolers is just being able to keep track of what homework they have each night and how to juggle that with extracurriculars. Looking at the time they have, looking at the time they have to go to sleep. Sleep is something that we empathize. Let me just do this. Everyone could just do a with me. Emphasize and how they can fit in everything in their afternoon.
Yeah,
So the
the
planning
planning stuff
component.
obviously sings to my heart because like
Yeah.
that's how we all get caught up on all of our things is we're never taught how to do that. Like that's why I work with the moms I work with because they're literally like, I don't know what to do. And we're not taught how to do deadlines. And I actually taught a class when I taught high school and it was an elective class and it was literally that. It was time management and it was how to break those things down because we're not teaching kids how to do it. And now, like I said, like we're packing up. He's leaving for college in a couple weeks. And I'm just always like, did we do enough? Are you ready? Like, are we there? Have we taught you enough of those skills? Because that's the biggest transferable life skill, like
It is.
that they will hopefully take from school. Like you had put it in like the first couple things, it was like the time management piece. It has to be explicitly taught. Like so many people struggle with it. And I think about like my kid struggles a little with his executive functioning. So like the book bag, right? Like comes home every day with the papers everywhere. And it's like that organizational piece. Like I try really hard to focus on those things over like, cool, did you do your math sheet? Because I will find my kids like they do have the Chromebooks and stuff. My kids like love math and I'll find them like they're like on the program they use for math on their IXL and they're like, look, mom, we found pre-calculus. I'm like, you're in first grade. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you on slope right now? Like they're just like sitting there because they enjoy it and it's
Mhm.
they have to do it. And I think that is my takeaway too, getting ready to get into these next grades with them is how to one, back off myself and make it my problem. Because that's I make everything my problem. I don't know how to not make
I think a lot of us do
let's
that.
put it out there. My husband was saying
Yeah.
everything a thing, like everything is here. But like, how do I allow that? I was reading The Anxious Generation. I think we've talked about this, that you've read this too, and it talks
I
about
haven't, but I need
oh
to.
my
I've heard a lot about it, and I think I'm gonna get mad at it.
the what I really there's a lot I took from it that was helpful. Some not as much. The helpful stuff that I took into the summer was about how we're like not allowing kids to like fail on their own. So they're not like being open to having risky behaviors because we're just rescuing them. And so I've been trying really hard to like move that into my life of like, how can I let you fail with a safety net, right? Like
Mhm.
a little bit like I'm here. If you don't do your homework and you like your life's not going to end because you didn't do this thing, but you have supports around you to talk you through like this type of thing. And I think this is the thing I'm taking into my year of their homework is that
Yeah.
it's not my homework.
Yeah, it's a great, you're right, it's a great thing to let them fail. They learn more from failing than from being told to do their homework over and over again. If they see the consequences of like maybe they're not ready for a test, or maybe their teacher runs the classroom where they have fun Fridays and they cannot engage in fun Fridays if they don't do their homework. This is all kind of separate though from if a kid has a learning difficulty and they're being kept from doing Fun Friday from that. Because also, when you come into kind of conflict with your kids doing homework, uh, you'll find that the reasons they don't do homework may not be what you think. A lot of assumptions are made with they're lazy, they're like, they just don't want to do it. When really, when we sit down with our kids and dig down, we find that they don't understand a part of it. And they're really uncomfortable with that. Or they are having a hard time focusing in class. So, like, they weren't even able to get the learning that was required to do the homework. And when we shift into that mindset, figuring out why and what their problems are, what their difficulties are in homework, we can come alongside them and coach them so much better, and we'll have so much more long-term success than just making them do their homework.
Yeah, I like that. I had to challenge myself this year. My son has a speech impairment and he had gotten these spelling words for first grade and he like wouldn't practice them and I was getting so frustrated. I'm like, I know you can read these words. Like I know you know these words. And it was like it and it again, even as a former teacher, special education teacher, a reading special, like I know these things, but it took me a
Yeah.
minute to like back up and be like, oh right, because all of these have an R in it. Hello. Like of
Well,
course. Like I didn't like think about it, and then I was like, right, let's think about this differently. You don't hear these sounds right, like this is the way you're supposed to hear them. Like, but I think a lot of times we get very wrapped into like the homework has to be done, and not
Mhm.
like let's make this work in a way
We're,
that makes sense.
yeah, we're attaching our own selves and our own ego to our kids' success.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what
All right,
makes it
we have a
hard.
couple minutes before we transition. So if anyone has any final questions for Joanne, drop them in. Joanne, I also want to say though, this is unrelated to this, but I was thinking
Okay.
about books. I read Dr. Cheryl's book on the middle childhood.
Okay.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was probably
She's always amazing. She
the
like
best
drops
book.
so
I
many
know.
great
Well, I've heard
bombs.
her on your
Yeah.
podcast, and so then I've been like, so that's anyway. That's the connection here. Is I've heard her on your podcast, so like that's like how I originally found her, and it was so good. Like it was
Mhm.
probably one of the best nonfiction books I've read all
Have
year.
you read her other book, Mommy Meltdown?
No, not yet.
Oh, that one's a good one too.
Is it?
That one, like, she describes like 9 different scenarios of like how much moms have on them.
Mhm.
And it's just very affirming for
I'm
what
writing
we're
it down.
dealing
We're
with.
making our book club list for next year, so I'll have to make sure I put that on there. Wait, Joanne, when is your new book coming out?
November. We're trying for November. I'm trying for November. I'm in, as I said, I'm in editing hell right now. And Allie knows every morning I edit my book in our body doubling sessions. But I'm trying for that. There's so much to do with a book launch.
Yes. Amanda, your book just came out, didn't it? Didn't you? Yeah, I was gonna say it's true, but we're in getting
Overwhelmed.
yeah,
Great topic.
yeah. We're getting ready for next year's book club, which is wild. I was talking to my team about it. And I was like, how are we getting ready for next year? Like already, like now we're thinking about 2026. And I was like, wait, I need to start thinking about what books I want to put on my list. So that one's good. And now I have a couple more suggestions. So,
Oh, yay.
Joanne, thanks for your time today. Thank you for hanging out with us. As
Thank you so
always.
much for having me. This was a lot of fun.